Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar on social media marketing with Zoho Social for agencies. I'm Ritika and I'm going to be your host for today's webinar. So we're all here today to talk about social media marketing and how as an agency you can use Zoho Social to not only manage multiple social media accounts for all your clients, but also reinforce your own agency's branding. Alright, let's get a few things in check first. If at any point during the webinar you find it hard to follow any of the features that I'm talking about, don't worry. Just type in your questions in the chat panel to your right and I'll answer them right away. This is a pre-recorded webinar, but my colleague and I will be online along with you all to make sure you have a good understanding of the product. Oh, and also we will definitely send you a recording of this webinar soon after it ends. Okay, so before we get started, allow me to tell you a bit about myself. I'm Ritika and I'm a product marketer for Zoho Social. I am absolutely passionate about the social media world and I love the various ways one can creatively market themselves. Especially in today's day and age where individuals, businesses and agencies can easily make use of social media to build on everything that the social media landscape has to offer, where you as an agency can grow and build healthy relationships with potential customers for all your clients. And hey everyone, we have a little surprise planned for you all, a special offer only for our webinar attendees, and you won't find this anywhere on our website. So do stay tuned to find out what it is. Alright, let's get started. I actually have a nice little story planned for you all. It's about an agency called Zephyr Digital that manages social media presence for multiple clients. So let's say that Zilker Travels Cafe is one of their clients and the owner Millie wants Zephyr Digital to market her new cafe on social media. So let me quickly jump to my dashboard. Great. So for starters, let's get the basics sorted. So as an agency, you'd want to start by setting up your social media management tool first, especially when you've invited your clients to the platform and you're looking to reinforce your agency's branding to them. So customizing the tool to make it look like your own is what you would preferably want, right? So this is where you head. You go to portal settings and then you click on customization. So you can get started by setting up a domain of your own for your Zoho Social portal. So for example, let me say cafe.zilkertravels.com and then you can go ahead and click submit. And then you can continue to follow these steps that we've provided, and soon in 5 to 6 days your custom domain will be ready for your clients. Next, you can go ahead and upload your agency's logo and favicon. So after you're done uploading, we'll make sure that all the reports you share or email invites you send include your branding. Also, do keep in mind the image size criteria that's mentioned here while uploading your logos and images. Great. So since we are in the setup section, I would like to go over all these various settings that you can use to manage your multiple clients. So first up, if you want to add more brands of your clients, click on this drop down and click on add another brand. With every brand, you can manage your client's social media presence across 5 networks. That is Twitter and Instagram profiles, Facebook and Google Plus pages, and their LinkedIn company page. So once you've added their brands, you can very easily switch from one brand to another from here. And if your clients have multiple pages and profiles per social network, you will have to create additional brands and connect each page or profile to that brand. Now in Zoho Social, you can also have multiple team members managing different brands. Moving on to brand information. Simply put, it consists of information about your client's brand. You can select which link shortener you want to make a default one to use for this brand. Coming to social networks, like I mentioned, Zoho Social has 5 popular networks. You can view all of the social networks this particular brand is connected to, and you can disconnect a social network anytime you'd like. Roles and permissions. Now over here, you can create new roles for every brand and assign permissions to those roles. For example, all brand admins and users will have these permissions by default. However, for the other roles, you can choose what they can have access to. Let's look at brand members now. You will see two tabs, that is team members and client members. In Zoho Social, you can have multiple team members managing different brands of your clients. Now, as the portal admin, you can invite team members, assign roles to them, and manage settings of all your clients' brands in a portal. Whereas brand admins can only manage team members and settings for the brand assigned to them. So yeah, this is how you can change roles and assign the social networks that they can manage. You can also remove them from here by clicking on the cross icon. Now coming to client members, there are three things that I would like for you to remember. One, there is no limit on the number of client individuals that you can invite to the tool. Two, all your clients will have a restricted view of the product, and I'll talk about what they can see as I take you through the tour. And three, you can invite them for free without having to create new roles for them. And this is how you invite them. Great, so moving on to notifications. There are 4 types of actions that your team members can receive email notifications for. That is, when a scheduled post goes live on social networks, when a scheduled post fails to go live, when a social network gets disconnected from Zoho Social, and when someone mentions them in a comment or a discussion. You can also receive notifications from these social networks and for these specific social actions. Now moving on to all members. So under portal members, you will see a list of everyone in your team who has access to this particular portal, active or inactive. Now clicking on any member will display the brands that they have access to and their roles in that brand. To add them to another brand, just click on add and select the brands you'd like to invite them to and click invite. Great. So the same goes for client members. You can invite new client individuals from here and then add them to different brands if you'd like. Alright, great. So now that we're done going over all the settings, it's finally time for me to give you a tour of Zoho Social and show you how you can easily work with your team to manage social media presence for all your clients. Let me head to my home screen. So I mentioned that I had a story planned, right? Well, here's Zephyr Digital's agency's most valued client, Millie's Zilker Travels Cafe. So let me introduce you to Millie first. Meet Millie. She spends all day and all night in the kitchen creating the next best cake, and she hardly finds time to market her business. So if no one knows about it, it doesn't really matter how great it is, right? So the best way for Zephyr Digital to promote her cafe would be through social media, because in this day and age, that's where all the customers are. So they head to the new post feature and get cracking with all the posts about baking. So over here, these are the social networks that are available for every brand. You can select the social networks that you want to post from. Now, one way of publishing your posts is by typing in your content. So for example, for Millie's Cafe, the agency can say, grab hold of our latest cupcakes. Let me add a couple of hashtags as well. Cupcakes, hashtag chocolate. And then you can even add images if you'd like. Let me add another one. So after you're done uploading your images and adding your content, you can go ahead and hit post now, and it will go live that instant. Now, if you think that you need some more time to get the content right and publish this post, you can save it as a draft and bounce off ideas with your team and work on it later on. Now, another way of posting is to schedule your posts. So you can go ahead and click a date that you'd like to schedule on. So let me say Feb 9th, 9 a.m. and hit schedule. Now, let's look at this feature called Smart Queue. This is quite an interesting feature. So suppose you don't have a fixed date or a time in mind at which you want your posts to go out. You can rely on Smart Queue. So this feature gives you the best possible dates to publish your post so that you can derive the maximum engagement from your client's audience. So sorting it based on engagement will show you its likely reach. And sorting it based on time will give you the next best time to publish. And all of this is based on predictive analytics and data mining from our end. Great. So we also have another feature where you can repeat or let's say republish posts. So let me give you an example. Millie finds out that there's an event coming up in 2 months where she will have the opportunity to tell people about her new venture. So at this event, she gets to set up a stall and exhibit her awesome cakes. Now, she would definitely like her followers to be reminded about it a few times in the days and months leading up to the event, right? So that's where this feature helps. You can set it up for either weekly or monthly. So let me just say weekly, and I choose Tuesdays and Thursdays and repeat until March 22nd. So it will repeat this current post until this date. So once the posts are published, people start engaging with them, liking her page, posts, commenting on them, and more. You and your team members can find them all here under live stream. So this is where you can follow a real-time stream of updates to learn how your client's audience is engaging with their brand. It will show you various types of social activities such as likes, mentions, follows, replies, shares, and wall posts. So here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just a real-time stream of updates. You can click on any of these social activities to get more information about the person or the brand and the kind of social activity they engaged in, that is, which specific post they liked or which post they commented on and so on. Suppose you notice someone who just started to follow her brand or let's say liked her tweet. Zoho Social automatically adds this user as a connection. And a connection refers to anyone who has interacted with the specified brand in terms of liking, sharing, or commenting on your posts, and so on. And I'll talk about it more in detail later on. Now coming back to live stream, let's say I click on this social activity. It will give you a lot more contextual information to work with. You can look at the way the individual has engaged with the brand. So over here it says this is the first time Yatish has engaged with Zilka Travels. You can check the number of followers he has, the number of people he's following, and so on. So you can also directly follow him from here. And then there's another option called Discuss. So what this means is you can discuss about this person with your team members from this tab, that is the Collaborate tab. And I will show you how collaboration works as well. Now, you will also see something known as Know More About Yatish. So clicking on this will take you to that specific person's connection profile so that you can see more information about them. For instance, we have the Interactions tab over here. So since Yatish interacted with Zilka Travels just once, we are able to see just this social activity. You will also be able to see their other social media profiles. For instance, we have Twitter over here. You can engage with them directly by liking their tweets, by retweeting, or commenting. Now, one of your team members has interacted with this particular person on social media, and the individual gives them their personal contact number, email ID, or through continuous interaction they find out something important, like this user likes chocolate and cupcakes but is allergic to gluten. You can directly input the details in this personal info section and update it. So let me go ahead and say Yatish at xyz.com, add his phone number, and say loves cupcakes but is allergic to gluten. Boo-hoo. So you can add all of that information here so that the next time you interact with them, you have something to lead with. You can also associate their other social profiles to this connection profile. So let me go ahead and click on Associate Facebook. You can associate either from within the connections list from Zoho Social. And like I said, a connections list shows you a list of everyone who has interacted with the brand in terms of liking, commenting, or sharing your posts. Or you can choose this tab, which is from Facebook, and search for them from here. So this way, you will definitely be able to see the value that these details provide in helping you grow your client's customer base. So now that Zephyr Digital have gotten Millie's baking posts out, it's time to find out if people like what they're seeing. So let's head to brand health. So all the social networks of your client's brand that you connect will be shown here. That is Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and Instagram. And you can track the number of followers and active engagers, likes, and see how many people are talking about your client's brand. So this table gives you a snapshot of a brand's social media performance across social networks. And keeping a tab on these metrics can help you understand how people are responding to the social media posts you publish for all your clients. Now, if you scroll down a bit, you will notice something called recent posts. So all the recently published posts for this particular brand from the various social networks will pop up here. It could be the same content if you've cross-posted, or it could be different depending on what you post from which social network. There's also something called details for every post, and this is where all the beans will spill. Now, let's say that Zephyr Digital was successful in publishing 50 to 100 baking posts or recipe posts and generating interest in Millie's customer base across various social networks. They even decided to promote some of the posts to see their reach. Now, their intention was to derive some form of engagement, and through this engagement, find out what kind of posts are working best with Millie's audience. Even further, find out if the brand was successful in generating leads. So here's where you as an agency can go to find out all of this. When you click on details, you get the whole picture. How many likes, comments, shares, retweets, plus ones your posts have gotten, and you can directly respond to them from here. Now you can also take a look at the basic stats. So there is the total number of clicks, number of people who have shared this post or created stories about it. Not only do you get basic stats, but there's also something known as opt-outs, where it shows you the number of people who have reported your post or hidden it from the timeline. One more thing is that you can email these post details to your colleagues, or you could export it as a PDF or a PNG file. Alright, now coming to the different kinds of views for your posts, we have published posts. So this is where you can find all your published posts. You can filter this according to social networks and sort this based on date or popularity. Now moving on to promoted posts. So all the posts that you promote through paid ads on social networks will be shown here. And I haven't really promoted anything, so that's why this tab looks empty. Now going over to scheduled posts. All the posts that you schedule will be shown here. You can even edit them from here and filter by users, by team members. Going to failed posts. So all of these social networks have certain gates with tokens, and when these tokens expire, that's when posts fail to go out. You will have to reconnect your network. Or it could also happen because of publishing duplicate content. So do double check before you publish your posts. And then we have drafts, where you can brainstorm and discuss further about each post idea with your team members. Moving on to the social media calendar. Here, all the posts that you schedule for your client will be neatly organized in a calendar format, making it easier for you and your team to manage them. So what can you do with it? Number one, you can schedule and plan for future posts by clicking on this little pencil icon. Now, planning posts in advance will give you enough time to craft thoughtful posts and engage with your client's audience better. Next, you can modify and perfect your posts. Just go back and click on any of your existing scheduled posts to either rework on it or delete it altogether. You can also jump slots to reschedule. Now, it's very easy to fall into the trap of scheduling too many posts a day. As each social media network works differently, you can organize and spread your posts evenly without running the risk of spamming your client's audience. All you have to do is simply pick and drop posts across your calendar to make a good content spread for your audience. Now, there may be times when you'd feel like shifting your focus towards posts that matter to you in that very moment. Or maybe you wonder which social network of your clients is not getting enough attention. So for times like these, using the filter in the calendar view can be very helpful. So you can select your criteria based on specific authors, the post type, and let's say Facebook for network. And you can go ahead and click apply to see all the posts of your choice. Now, coming to Facebook lead ads. Let me go over this very briefly. Now, whether your client has a retail outlet, is a fashion brand, or is an automobile company, with the integration between Zoho Social and Facebook lead ads, you can capture and monitor their leads in real time, analyze performance of your client's ad campaigns, and easily import lead information to Zoho CRM. And if you'd like to know more about this integration, you can sign up for my webinar on Zoho CRM integration with Zoho Social. Alright, so that's about it for lead ads. Let's jump back to the product. We also have this feature called Bulk Scheduler, where you can schedule large number of posts in advance. So let's say you and your team have planned for a 2-week long vacation, but obviously you want your client's business to be consistent on social media and not miss out on engaging with their potential customers. So here's when this feature comes in handy. There's a checklist here that you can follow to upload your files. We've even created a sample template for you to upload your content according to the format that's suited for this feature. You can upload a .csv or a .xls file and go ahead and click on schedule. So with this, you can save a lot of time and effort by uploading multiple posts all at once according to your preferred dates. And Zoho Social will take care of the rest. Okay, so now that Zephyr Digital has published and scheduled posts for Millie's Cafe, they want to learn more about what's going on in her industry. In fact, Millie has been talking about her participation in the bakery event that's going to be held in New York. Now it's up to Zephyr Digital to do some research about some of her competitors and take a closer look at some of their social activities and how they are promoting themselves. So how can they do that? One way is to Google them all. Another way is maybe to go to each social network and dig in. But the easiest and the most effective way to do this would be through Zoho Social's Monitor tab. So let's see how. You can find all the various things you want to track for your client's brand here by clicking on this orange plus button. Now let me tell you that every social network has a particular type of column that you or your team members can add. For example, for Facebook, you can add a column where you can view people's posts on your client's Facebook wall. You can track who is mentioning their brand on Twitter with this column. And then Instagram has hashtag, Google Plus has user search, and so on. So let's say that Zephyr Digital chooses the Instagram hashtag search column because they've been informed that many of the participants of the event and Millie's competitors are using the hashtag baking. So with this particular column, they can keep track of all the posts and updates relating to the hashtag baking. They can then scroll through the feed to see how her competitors are promoting their baked goods, or they can also check if there's anyone looking to bulk order cupcakes for a birthday party, and so on. So this is for Instagram. Let's try this for Twitter. And I say hashtag baking again. So this way you can scroll through the feed and check for updates. I like what I'm seeing here, so I'm going to go ahead and click on save and add it to my monitor screen. So this way you can personalize and add columns that matter most to your client's business. So in this monitor screen, you can see various columns already added. Now suppose Zephyr Digital is interested only in Millie's brand at the moment. So they can look at this column, Zilker Travels posts. Now all the posts related to the word Zilker and travels will appear in this column. You can feel free to discuss these posts with your team members by clicking here. So suppose they spot an interesting profile, or let's say an interesting hashtag in Monitor, and they decide that it's very important that they track this particular hashtag. Maybe it could lead to something profitable. You can view updates for Twitter, Google Plus, as well as Instagram. So this way they can then choose to click on Monitor and add it directly to the monitor screen. Now this is possible not just with hashtags, but users as well. You will find this feature across the product. So wherever you are, you will always have some form of context to either start a conversation or build a relationship with your client's audience. Another interesting feature that's part of this tab, and I'm quite sure you'll be fond of this, is the advanced keyword search for Twitter. So with this, you can filter and narrow down Twitter keyword search results to focus on only those tweets that are relevant for your client's business. You can filter based on content, you can exclude keywords, include retweets, or choose the type of media post that you'd like to see. You can filter it based on people. You can look for tweets made by specific users, verified users, or mentions. Moving on to places, you can enter any location to see where tweets are trending and so on. Also, as long as you're in the Monitor tab, all your saved columns will now automatically show you the number of real-time new posts as an orange badge right at the top. So when you click on this badge, it refreshes the column to show you the latest posts and updates specific to that column in Monitor. Now you can also view conversations in your Twitter columns and see the original tweet that started it all. All you have to do is click on View Conversation. So the threaded view of these posts will give you more context for every conversation that you choose to take forward. So I can go ahead and respond to him and say, "Thank you." There we go. Now going back, now let's say you want to control what you see first, the moment you head to the Monitor tab. So in this section, you can choose to reorder columns by just simply dragging and dropping them, instead of scrolling through all of these columns to find your most favorite one. Also, reordering will not change the view for all the team members. It only affects your view. So when I drag and drop, it changes only for me. So this way you can monitor a lot of things relevant to your client's business by adding various kinds of columns. Now coming back to the story, suppose the agency interacted with a prospective customer from the Twitter keyword search column #baking, and that individual decides to send a direct message to her page asking about the prices of cupcakes, or is just probably looking to discuss important details about her birthday party and so on. So where would they go then? This is where they head. The agency can not only engage with her from here, but also keep a tab on the interactions that she's had with the brand, update her contact information, and if it's a Twitter profile, they can even view their recent tweets. So messages is where you can view private messages that come into your Facebook and Twitter inboxes. And you can use this filter over here to view either just Facebook messages or just Twitter messages. Now let's move on to connections. So this refers to anyone who has interacted with your client's brand across multiple social accounts in terms of liking, sharing, or commenting on posts, and tweeting or sending direct messages. So Zoho Social will automatically update the connections list with everyone who interacts with the brand, and you will be able to see and manage all of them from here. So let me briefly go over the different views of connections. We have all connections, and that refers to everyone who has interacted with your client's brand. Moving on to recently engaged, are those connections who have engaged with the brand recently. Most engaged are connections who interact with the brand more often than most other connections. Followers are connections who follow your client's brand on Twitter and Instagram. Following are connections you follow on behalf of your client on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also keep a tab on the Twitter accounts that you mute or block. And if you want to see connections from a specific social network, you can do that as well. You can filter and choose from here. So let's say that the agency's published posts have generated a good amount of engagement for Millie's Cafe, Zilko Travels, with those coming to the event in New York. And their guess is that these people are more engaged with Millie's brand compared to the others. Now Zephyr Digital, the agency, can then proceed to check out the most engaged connection view and filter the social network to, let's say, Twitter. Now by viewing this list, they can choose which connections to directly contact and follow up on. And I've already shown you how to go about with the features over here, so I won't really get into the details again, but do remember that you can find a lot of valuable and contextual information here that will help your client's business. And at the start of this webinar, I had mentioned about the option to discuss, so let's try that with this connection. Clicking on Discuss will direct you to the Collaborate tab. So over here you can tag your team members. So let me just say Lauren, and I say let's follow up with him. And then click Share. So you can share your thoughts with either everybody who's part of the brand or just with a set of specific individuals with the help of this feature called Custom Share. So portal admins and brand admins are selected by default. You can go ahead and select the team members you would like to share this with, as well as your client members from here. Once you're done selecting, go ahead and click on Done. Now over here, your clients will have a restricted view. So this way you can retain your own privacy while discussing something important with your team. Now, in the Collaborate tab, your clients have a couple of permissions. They will be able to start any discussions with you. They can ask questions, ask for specific data, or just about suggest their own ideas. Your clients can also discuss any posts they see in Livestream that I mentioned earlier, or from the Posts tab by clicking on the option Discuss. If you want to include your clients in certain discussions with your team, just tag them in posts. And they will be able to see the entire thread. Now, all conversation threads have a unique label assigned to them. That is from discussions, drafts, posts, connections, or reports. So filtering your feed this way will make it easier for you to identify what you're looking for. You can also glance at your team members' profiles by clicking on their names or their profile icons to see all that they have chosen to share with you. Great. So to sum up, you'll find the option to discuss across the product. You can brainstorm and come up with awesome content with the help of your team members, update each other about the different things you're working on, share insights that you gain from social media, and plan your marketing efforts accordingly. Now, to stay up to date with all the internal discussions, you can click here, that is Team Notifications. So this way you can be sure to not miss out on any important discussions with your team. Now, speaking of notifications, next to team notifications are social media notifications. So whenever someone comments on your posts, sends you a message or follows you, all of that will appear in notifications. So that's about it for team collaboration. Moving on to reports. So this is where you come to find out what has worked for your client's brand and what hasn't. You can analyze the impact of your social media marketing efforts over here. So first up, let's look at basic stats. You will find reports for all the social networks that show you stats about how well the brand is performing. How many fans you've gained or lost. What are the languages your fans are communicating in, who your fans are, sources of likes, how frequently content on your pages were viewed. You can also choose what kind of graphical representation of data you'd like to see, whether you'd like to see a bar graph or a pie chart. Now we also have advanced reports or analytics. So these are insights based on the kind of content that you have published. So you can check the social outreach, what type of content is working best for your client's brand, when best to post, what your connections are saying about the brand, who the key connections are, and so on. Now, under standard reports, you can filter and view reports of the social network of your choice, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, or Facebook. And you can also filter the time frame to view your reports, whether it's past 15 days, past 30 days, or all time. You can go ahead and discuss these reports with your team members, export it as a PDF or a PNG file, or send it via email. So suppose in the weeks leading up to the bakery exhibition, Millie asks Zephyr Digital to analyze what kind of content is working best with her followers. So this is where they can head. You click on Create Custom Reports and you can choose which stats and analytics you want to see for which social networks. So let me create a report right now to show you. So for Facebook, the agency chooses, let's say, social outreach to see her brand's reach in terms of posts published, posts viewed, and so on. For Twitter, They choose additional stats to get more information about her followers. Moving on to LinkedIn, they choose verticals of your followers to check what kind of background they come from. Google Plus, they choose content that's working best. So from here, they can make out that links, images, and texts are working well. Maybe they could experiment with videos as well. Moving on to Instagram, they choose brand performance to check how her brand is doing on Instagram. And then they give this report a title. So let's say Zilka Travels Cafe Report. Oops, sorry about the typo. Report 1. And they go ahead and click Save Report. Now, if you decide to export reports or email them to your clients, they will definitely carry your agency branding. Oh, and by the way, you can create unlimited reports with Zoho Social. Now, coming to scheduled reports, you can send the reports that you have customized to your team members either daily, weekly, or monthly. You can go ahead and choose the time and click Save. You can also change the file types to either PNG or PDF. And if you'd like to edit, you can do that as well. Add more team members or add a personalized message here and click Schedule. Or if you'd like to delete this report altogether, you can do that as well. Great. So now that we've gone over all the features, let me show you what your clients will have access to in the product. Now, once a client member accepts your invitation and is added to your portal, they will be able to see the home screen and view the interactions taking place on social media from live stream. They'll be able to see the Posts tab, where they'll have access to just promoted posts, scheduled posts, and published posts. Next, the Collaborate tab, where they can initiate discussions like I mentioned earlier, and view conversations where they've been tagged in. The Reports tab will show only those reports shared with them, and they can export them as a PDF or PDF files. Alright, so to summarize, we looked at how you can build your client's brand presence on social media, how well you can collaborate not just with your team but your clients as well, and customize the tool to reinforce your own brand. So in a time where social media does most of the talking, monitoring your social media marketing efforts and engaging with your clients' prospects to win them over is exactly why you can benefit from using a social media management tool designed specifically for agencies like yours. And finally, coming to the surprise, we have a special limited time offer for all our webinar participants. If you sign up for the Agency or the Agency Plus edition, we will give you 3 months of Zoho Social for free. So all you have to do is send us an email at support@zohosocial.com and we will take it up from there. Feel free to get in touch with us anytime if you enjoyed this webinar or if you'd like to share your experience with Zoho Social. Tweet to us at Zoho or use the hashtag Zoho Social. You can also write to us at support@zohosocial.com. Thank you so much for your time and I hope you have a lovely day.